Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today we have Brandon.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about games and things.
Yes.
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yes, let's talk about the games.
Games and things. Well, it is the beginning of Gamescom, so there's some news from that. We had a surprise Nintendo Direct today for Kirby Air Riders. So we got that to talk about, and then whatever games things that we have going on too. So, you ready to get into it? I don't know what you've been playing. You didn't update the list.
Oh, the list, shit! Like, already. Wait, did you even link it? Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, I did. It's there.
It just didn't pop up. My bad.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. You're talking.
Anyway, yeah, I played some games. Played some games.
Okay. Well, what did you play? We'll start there because I think I told you before the podcast, but
yes,
for the listeners, I did not end up playing this much this week because I was pretty much under the weather since the podcast. So I did lots of sleeping, but we'll circle back through to my trip a little bit later because it's surprisingly relevant to some announcements and things today anyways. Yeah, so what have you been playing?
So pretty much everything I played this week were tests or demos.
Oh yeah, your Raccoin game. I forgot about that.
I played Raccoin, and Raccoin is so good. Raccoin, the coin pusher roguelike playtest. I got 100% in it. I spent 11 hours in that game, legitimately.
Oh jeez, for just a demo.
Yes, I did everything. I literally did everything you can do in the playtest for that game. Nick does not understand how this game works. I'm just going to tell you that right now, right? Nick's complaints are really weird because his complaints are essentially, I don't want to play a roguelike. And it's like, what? What? What are you talking about? So essentially Raccoin is a coin pusher game that has roguelike elements to it. So things like Balatro will come to mind whenever you play this game. There are different coins that you can put inside the machine that do different things. And for instance, I'm going to actually boot the whole game so I can explain this a little bit better and give you a rundown of the different coins since I have a compendium with all of them unlocked to explain it a little bit better. So let me go do that real quick. So essentially, at least in the playtest, which is open to everyone now, there are 37 different coin types. There are 7 different prize types. There are 25 different chip types. And there are 6 different keychains. Now, what all of this means is keychains are abilities that basically persist from round to round. So after you hit round 5, you'll be allowed to pick a keychain. And you'll be given 3 different keychains to pick from. And here are some of the examples of what those keychains are. They'll be like Bank Book, which makes it so the coins that you had last round remain in the machine. And in a non-roguelike fashion, your amount that you earned last round carries over to the next round. You have to survive 10 rounds, getting a continuously higher amount of coins and points from the machine when playing. I'm also gonna just since it'll be easier for you, I'm gonna show you so you can watch this.
Okay.
So for instance, like I said, Bank Book. It retains the unspent coins. So let's say you're running the machine and you start with 20 coins, for instance. If you earn back 35 or 40 coins, in order to get your point amount and everything, instead of resetting back to your 20 coins for the next round that you go to, the 35, 40 coins that you got from the machine will carry over to the next round. So next round you'll start with 40 instead of 20. There's also a Scallop Credit Pay, which allows you to use your tickets that you've received even when you no longer have any exchanges left. And the way exchanges work is whenever I'm just going to kind of show you this by starting this up real quick. So the way exchanges work is whenever you have tickets, you can cash in the tickets you've gotten out of the machine to give yourself more coins. So depending on what level you're playing, and the levels are broken up into different characters. So you have the Raccoin, like raccoon guy, and then you also have another person that is like a uh, oh goodness, what is it? You have another person. Wait, what is going on? Oh, new game. You have another person that is a rabbit, and the rabbit and the raccoon have different kinds of play styles. So if you choose the raccoon at the start, you'll have two extra exchanges, and at the end of the round, you gain 20% interest on your tickets that you get. And if you choose the rabbit when you start, every hunt will start with a 50% chance to spawn a poo coin, which is manure, and you can use the manure to water plants. I mean, grow plants. And there's like a plant coin that you get called the seed coin, and that allows you to like grow a coin tree. And coin trees are kind of the way you're going to win very quickly. It's like those coin towers that stack up when you're playing an actual coin pusher game. But coin trees can be spawned from one of the coins that you can use after your first like round where you're trying to get to 30 points. You move on, and then you get into a shop, and the shop gives you an option of using the tickets from your last run to buy specific coins. You get special coins, which then allow you to you get special coins that then allow you to like change up the way the game works. So for instance, there's a like rare coin called the saw coin, which makes it so whenever you shoot that coin out, it'll cut up coins into like 4 separate little mini coins. After it does that 15 times, that coin self-destructs. There's like a whirlwind coin where you shoot a tornado into the machine, and then it like picks up all the coins around it and like swings them around and will like drop them into the chute if it has the ability to. There's a boom coin, which is a coin that you like fire at it like a coin pile, and then the next time you click exchange to get 10 more coins by trading in some of your tickets, that coin explodes, and the physics of the game sends the other coins that were around it flying forward, backwards, left, right, sideways, that sort of deal. So it's all a physics-based coin pusher, but the way you're able to manipulate the game is by the coins you can purchase in between rounds. And those coins can really do a lot of different things. So there's like some that are like animal-based. So like the wolf coin will eat like the chicken coin, and then it will leave behind like a corpse coin and this, that, and the other. And
Okay, interesting.
there's a lot of different synergies that you can make with the different coins that you can purchase in between rounds, and you want to use these to be able to like manipulate the game to be able to get as many coins and points as possible. Like there's a sensor coin here that makes it so when it like gets shot into the machine, it will float up into the sky, and then it'll fire like a eye laser beam across the machine. I'm gonna like show you a little example here so you can see. So pretty much when you start, it's just a normal coin pusher. It is literally just a normal coin pusher. Left click on mouse fires left chute, and right click on mouse fires the right chute. So like for example, I'm gonna want to like fire out coins, and I have 20 coins to do that, and I have to use those to actually coin push stuff and get the target amount, which at the beginning is 30, but every single round it's going to go up higher, the amount that you need. And once you get your goal achieved, you can enter the shop and move on to the next round. And inside the shop, then you take your tickets that you've earned and you're able to buy coins. Now, sometimes these coins that are here aren't going to be like one you're looking for, and you have this little coin clip right here, which allows you to put coins inside of it. So you actually have to use tickets to extend out your coin clip and be able to get more coins. But sometimes these coins won't be the exact one you're looking for, so then you can like re-roll for a certain amount of tickets as well. And later on, you can actually get a ability that allows you to re-roll twice for free. And there are these chips also that are permanent upgrades. So, for instance, I'm looking at it right now, and like in the first shop, there's an option to get +5 coins at the start of every round. So I literally can just purchase this, and now when I go into the next round, I start with 25 instead of 20. And it starts out very slow, like a normal coin pusher, but it gets very hectic very quickly because of all those coins that you can purchase in between rounds. And since there are 10 of them, you're going to be going back to the shop multiple times. And as you get more coins and stuff, you're able to, manipulate the game more and be able to get those points that you need. Every time you knock enough coins off, you can expand your spin energy, and when you have enough for a spin, then it'll spin and do something random. But you can also manipulate that as well. So it's all about manipulation through like building a run, like you would with Slay the Spire or some kind of deck builder game. But instead of it being cards, it's coins. And it's that sort of deal. And see, I am out of coins right here, like I'm showing you. But I've gotten 30 tickets, so for 10 tickets I can exchange and get 10 more coins. When I run out of the ability to do that, they give you a one-time shake of the machine, which will allow you to knock some coins off, but you cannot do that ever again. So if you ever run into that in like a later round where you cannot do what you need to do, shaking the machine won't matter. You can't shake the machine unless you have a special chip that will allow you to do so.
Okay.
So I have some coins here, and it also tells you when you like highlight the coins what each individual coin does. So like for instance here, this makes it so I'll get between 10 and 30 tickets when this coin is counted. This one over here gives me a chance to convert a normal 1-point coin into like a multiplier coin that can drop out of the machine. And then there's like prizes, and prizes do things like summon a coin rain of 5 to 12 coins that you've purchased the most. So it says there that you've purchased the most. This is an example of like the manipulation I was telling you about. So I haven't purchased any coins yet, but if I reroll and get a coin that's like a star coin, which converts nearby like single coins into like those multiplier coins that I was telling you about, if I buy that, that's now the only coin I bought and that I have bought the most. So if I were to buy the umbrella when it comes up in the prize chute again, I'm guaranteed to have this coin be the one that drops from the sky, which is again another form of manipulation so that you can like build the run you want, but the run is built based off of coins instead of cards, like you would with like a deck builder. This is essentially a roguelike deck builder, but your deck are coins that you can put into the machine to manipulate it and be able to like further get closer to your target. So I just bought this thing called a screw, and this screw costs like 16 tickets, and the screw makes it so every time you spin 30 coins and insert them into the machine, I get the ability to shake the machine one time.
Okay.
Very like it's a very good ability. It's very overpowered. I kind of feel like it might end up getting nerfed in the future. But also, you may have noticed here when I'm showing you on round 3, there are these bad coins that got put inside the machine. This is from the owner. He sees that I'm winning the machine and he does not want me to win. So he's thrown in these coins that make it harder for me to get spins because they're very bulky and they're called turtle coins, and these make it so it's more difficult to move the coins around inside the machine. And there's these other kind of coins that will happen throughout your run that get thrown into the machine as you like advance across the game, because the owner does not want you winning his machine. So he thinks the best way to deal with that is to like, again, he's manipulating it much like you're manipulating it. And it's kind of like a back and forth, again, like Slay the Spire, like something like, see, I threw one of my coins in and it gave me a bunch of the multipliers because I changed a bunch of coins into the multiplier coins. Yeah, and I also spent 30 coins, which gives me the ability to tap the machine now once. So at some point I can tap the machine, which will allow all these coins to go like flying forward and allow me to score a bunch of coins at once. But that coin that I just spent is the only coin that I've used so far, and I just bought a coin expansion clip, which allows me to have 4 different coins that I can use. if I could get an umbrella, which I don't think I'm going to, yeah, it doesn't look like the game wants to give me an umbrella, but if I could get the umbrella that I mentioned earlier, then what I would be able to do is use the umbrella ability in the middle of a round, and that umbrella ability would force it to rain star coins, because that's the only coin I've used so far from my deck that I've built.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, again, manipulation of the machine, like you would at any roguelike deck builder, and that makes it so the only coin that will drop 5 to 12 is the star coin. And see, I just use the screw to shake the machine, and you can use that at any point in time when you're in a round. So like I literally started round 4, used one of my side abilities because I put 30 coins in the machine, and it allows you to shake the machine. You want to decide when you don't need to use that, because now I've used that. So now I need to drop 30 more coins to be able to use it again. And
Okay.
as you get further in, it's kind of like a risk and reward. Do I do this now to like get through this very quickly, or do I wait until like a later level when I've got more multipliers built up and more coins are worth more money, and as such, I have a better chance of being able to get to the higher amount that I need for the machine to clear the next round. So I got an umbrella just now. And the umbrella, like I said before, drops 5 to 12 coins, and my most purchased coin, it even will show you, is the star coin. So I'm going to get a bunch of multiplier coins that are dropped in here because of that. I also have the ability to upgrade my coin clips. So now I can have like 2 of the same coin if I buy down, or if I buy sideways, then I can now have 6 different coins that I can drop in the machine. And then, like I said before, the chip are like permanent boost to your play style based on your run so far. So I have 2 chips I can choose from, and this one's like exchange, give you a 25% chance of getting double the amount of coins that you would normally get. So instead of getting 10 coins, I would get 20 coins, and I have a 25% chance at that, which is really good whenever you're like in a bind and you don't know if you'll be able to make it, but you have enough tickets to do like one exchange. So I'm not going to use that because I don't really care. And then there's other ones such as one called Bank that makes it so at the round end, you receive the coins in your hand times the ticket rate that you have. So like the next round, it'll multiply by whatever my ticket rate is. So there's that. I earned a spin because of the shake that I did last time, and that made it so it like spit out a whole bunch of coins without me having to use any of my coins that I would normally drop into the machine. And I'm going to use Rain Pillow, which is the umbrella I was talking about, and that drops a bunch of only the star coins. And now inside the machine, there are a ton of star coins that have made a bunch of multiplier coins. And again, like I said, like any roguelike deck builder, the entire purpose of the game is to find different ways to manipulate it. And again, I don't understand why Nick thought like everything was RNG. I really just think he's bad at the game, and as such, he doesn't understand. But yeah, like the whole game can be manipulated by you, the player, and it will allow you to be able to get to those higher targets that you need later on in the game. And
really, this just looks like coin pusher Balatro to me.
It is very much a coin pusher Balatro, and it's very, very fun. Like I said, I spent so much time in it, and rerolling is part of the way you play, but your first few rerolls aren't going to cost anything, and as you get like higher ticket amounts from your runs, as you get further into the rounds, it makes it so you're like, okay, well, what do I actually need versus what don't I need? So you can like look at what they have there and like multiply stuff that way and like figure it out. So the owner threw a coin in, and the coin makes it so I cannot exchange. So I have to drop this coin from the machine in order to be able to exchange. Without the ability to exchange, sometimes you cannot play certain coins because you can only activate them on exchange. So that's also something to keep in mind. Maybe you build a deck that's of coins that's like these coins need to be activated by exchange, but then the owner drops in a coin that makes it so you can't exchange, and then you're like, okay, well, what do I do now? Because now you're kind of screwed there. you really can't do as much as you would like to do now because of the fact that the owner threw that like curveball in there for you. And it's really just like you said, it's coin pusher version of Balatro, and it's a lot of fun. And I really like the idea of this game because of how much you can do and
Hmm.
how much you can like customize the game to be to your play style, because there are multiple different like ways you can play it. There's different ways you can like set up for a run, but then at the same time sometimes the game can just really fuck you over, as you would have in like one of those you know, roguelikes like Balatro, like I don't know, Slay the Spire, those sort of things. But then you can also get lucky with like your wheel spins from collecting a bunch of coins. So again, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy this game. I think this game is going to be excellent when it finally releases.
When is it actually coming out?
We do not know. This is the first time we've actually seen it. They announced it, then they announced a playtest for it,
Hmm.
and we don't know like when the actual. Oh yeah, so I'm on round 6. I just finished it, and now I have the option of picking 3 permanent upgrades.
Hmm.
One that is the effect range of range prizes is expanded. So essentially, there are some prizes that allow you to select certain parts of the machine, and the prizes will be like um, everything in this circle. It takes the most valuable coin and changes all these coins into that coin. And if you get the angry blowfish um, keychain, then that makes it so the circle's way bigger, so you can expand it to more coins and that sort of deal. Or you could do something like the shop coupon, which grants you a 20% discount on everything in the shop, or the bank book, which I explained at the beginning of the game, beginning when I like started talking about this game. It allows you to retain your unspent coins, and they carry over to the next round. I think the bank book is like a really good way of playing this. So most of the time I go for bank book when playing, because it makes for a better experience, I think.
Sense.
But you can, like I said, you can build these out any way you want. So like for instance, there's a clover coin, and while this coin is inside the machine and hasn't been like dropped into the prize chute, it gives you a chance of dropping those multiplier coins, and it goes up the more of these coins you have inside the machine. It's again, it is literally just you build a deck, but your deck is coins instead of a deck. And it's really, really fun. I literally played 11 hours of it the first day. You could test it. I also 100%ed it the first day you could test it. So like I actually reached out to the developer and I was like, "Hey, is there more game I could play? Because I need more of this. Let me give you money." And they were like,
Yeah.
"I'm impressed that this game has been out for less than 24 hours and you've already 100% the test."
Yeah. They have not known the fury of Brandon's time machine yet.
Well, they do now because
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's just so fun. It's just like a constant dopamine hit, as you would get from those other you know, games like Balatro, like Slay the Spire, and number go up. Things are fun, but it's done that in the style of a roguelike coin pusher, and I love coin pushers, so this is perfect for me.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I wish I liked coin pushers more because it actually looks fun. Um, but this looks like a game to me. I'd probably play it for like one try and be like, all right, I got my fix, and then I'd be done with it.
That's understandable. If it's not for you, it's not for you. I absolutely adore this game.
Yeah, I mean, I know you love coin pushers, and honestly, it looks like it's good. It looks like it has great features, and it looks like it's relaxing. Honestly,
It is
um,
very chill. Like even when like I'm losing, I'm like I don't care. It's just number go up. Cool things are happening. Like right now, I'm constantly dropping these breed coins, which are bunny rabbits that will one coin will go to another and like make a multiple bunnies, and the bunnies keep spawning and then creating more bunnies, and then those coins increase the points and yada 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 blah blah blah. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, it's fun. It's something that you can really get like lost in. My friend was going to play it, and then he saw that I'd already put 11 hours into it, and he was like, "I don't need something that addicting in my life right now." And he decided against playing it when he saw uh how much I liked it, because he was like, nope, I will fall into that trap and I will end up having the same problem. So he ended up not doing it, essentially. But yeah,
That's fair.
a lot of my weekend was consumed, but not even the weekend. A lot of my Monday was consumed by this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I pretty much played 11 of the 24 hours of Monday was spent on this little coin pusher roguelike game.
Yeah. Hey, you like it? That's great. And I imagine it'll probably be like very like reasonable game too when it comes out.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah.
so right now, like I said in the playtest, you only get 10 rounds, but there will be an unlimited edition
Mm-hmm.
where like it's you can just continuously play until you run out of coins.
Yeah.
And then there'll also be like, like the Zen mode where you can just to play. And there'll be other stuff like the the actual roguelike aspect of it will have like different machines that you can play on. So like they'll be built different. There'll be different kinds of ways to get the wheel to spin. All
Mm-hmm.
this other stuff. So the person that made this has like a lot of plans for how to expand it and like keep you playing, essentially.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like they have a good base, and there really is lots that they could do to make, you further iterations even more interesting. So
hmm So I just ran out of coins, but I've still spent like the taps, so I can just kind of tap and drop them in, tap and drop them in. But I still don't have enough right now.
mhm.
But I do have like this, which allows me to convert a whole bunch of coins to a different kind of coin. I still am getting like drops right now,
Mhm.
but I can't do anything anymore. I'm literally out of options. So when you run out of options, then the little like main raccoon will be like, "Well, you're out of coins and you're unable to exchange currently. So would you like to do a bankrupt shake?" And a bankrupt shake essentially shakes the machine really hard to give you that one last try to see if you can get enough coins to drop in, or
Mhm.
like something that will give you enough to continue your run. So you do that, and then you see what drops in, and if you don't get enough that can drop in and continue your run, or you don't get enough to get like a spin, then you're kind of shit out a lot. So I doesn't look like I got enough to continue my run that I was talking to you about, and I lack 400 more points. But I'm still
Yeah, I
getting
say you're
wheel spins,
close, but
so I'm having to wait to see if all the wheel spins go through. And as with like any coin pusher, you have to wait for it to like finish pushing all the coins forward and this, that, and the other
yeah.
first before you continue. And I am literally at the point now where it doesn't look like anything is moving, so I have lost my run. Essentially, is what happens
Yeah.
here. And then you just restart and you do another run. Um, yeah, it's really fun. I hope my explanation of it without any visuals, because I'm showing Mike here right now, but like explaining it to you guys, I was hoping I could explain it without visuals so that you could understand the game a little bit more. It's really, really fun. It's an
Yeah,
absolute
you did a
blast
good
to
job
play.
with that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I highly recommend this game if you like things like Balatro, or you like things like, Slay the Spire, or any of those sort of games. It is very addicting and it's really fun to play. There's a free test for it right now on Steam. I don't know how long that will remain, but this is one of those games that I do see being very, very popular in the future whenever it does release, just because of how easy it is to play and how easy it is to understand when you're like looking at it, and how much fun it is.
Yeah. No, it does look like that. Like I said, I definitely can tell it's a Brandon game for sure.
Yeah,
I'm honestly more surprised that Nick doesn't like it, if anything.
I think he just doesn't understand how to play it, because like literally he was explaining to me, well, this is why it doesn't work, and I'm like, no, you're just wrong. Like you just don't get it.
Yeah. And they can be, sometimes too, or it could be something else that he just really just doesn't gel with them,
hmm
So um But yeah, I don't know, who knows? Maybe, when the game's maybe further along, who knows? Maybe you'll give it another try and be like, oh yeah, I do like this. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
I do foresee it being something that he might come back to when there's like more to the actual game, and
Yeah.
maybe also when he like learns it better.
Hmm.
Because like this is a game that I didn't know existed until Nick showed it to me. And then I immediately went out and was like, "Hey, can I playtest this?" And the developer was like, "Yep." And I was like, "All right, yay!" And since there's like no NDA, I was able to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's also nice. Hmm.
I also played Hell Is Us, which is a new kind of Souls-like sort of game.
Hmm.
It is also very interesting and very much a Brandon game, as you put it. I don't know who this developer is. I don't know if they've really made anything before this. It seems like they have, but I haven't played it. But this is a game that comes out in 2 weeks, and like I said, it is a Souls-like, and essentially what makes this stand out from other Souls-likes, in my opinion, is there's no HUD, there's no map, there's no
Okay.
anything. The entire game revolves around exploration, and it wants you to go out into the world and just find and figure out stuff.
Hmm.
Um, it's very much more leaning towards like an action RPG than it is a Souls-like. But there's definitely some Souls-like inspirations here with the way that like the gameplay systems work. There is no actual souls in the game, so there's that. Like you don't drop anything when you die.
Hmm.
However, the actual gameplay elements, such as like the way you fight in combat, are very much like, parry, block, dodge roll, that sort of deal. But it's a weird one. This is being sold more like a double A game, and I like to see a lot more games like that releasing lately that's like $50 instead of like 60 or even 70. And this is another game that's doing that. And I don't know, it looks really nice. And the the other thing aside from the like big open-ish area that doesn't really point you in any one direction, it just tells you figure it out yourself.
Hmm.
That sets this game apart is you do have this little drone thing, and you can get abilities for it as you like level up, and
Okay.
also it can read like ancient text that you can't. And the drone will do things like distract enemies, so like you can distract like enemies with like your drone. So like if you're in a room and it has like three guys in it, if you like send your drone after one of them, then now you only have to fight two guys for a certain amount of time until that third guy gets undistracted and comes and attacks you. There's also this uh, other thing, which is like the enemies that you're fighting sometimes can like use this ability that essentially makes it so they're controlling other enemies, and then you have to kill the other enemy before you can fight the like main one. So like the enemies kind of like have these little henchmen things, but these little henchmen things are like kind of like inconceivable, like just geometric shapes that attack you that have a lot more health and like defenses, but you need to take them out before you can actually fight the enemies that you are fighting. And it's kind of interesting the way you have to plan the like plan your attack, plan your approach to things based on what kind of enemy you're fighting. And you just are kind of wondering a world and learning about the world itself, and as well as how to play the game by just exploration. And I think like a game that's more exploration based uh
Hmm.
versus like, some of these other Souls likes that are made by not FromSoft are very, you know, quest based, where it's like you have a quest, you need to go do this quest. Here's like a marker and figure out some way to get there, that sort of deal. But this one's
Yeah.
like no marker, no HUD, no nothing, figure it out. and
Huh?
you're like learning about the world as you're like going through it and fighting the like horrible enemies that you're seeing for the first time. I think this is a really interesting concept and a really fun game. I spent like 2 hours in the demo,
Mm-hmm.
and I did like pretty much everything that you could in that one, and it's really good. I'm looking forward to that as well. If it wasn't for the fact that like there are literally like 4 games releasing this month that I'm picking up, then I would probably have gotten this game. But there's just so much releasing this month.
What else are you picking up this month?
Oh, right now at this point in time, it is August 19th. But when I'm saying this month, I guess I more mean September.
Oh, okay.
September has Hot Shots Golf. September has oh goodness, let me see if I can remember what it's called. I have it at the top of my wish list. Clover Pit, which is the game I explained to you guys about a month ago or so ago, where it's the slot machine roguelike.
Okay.
September has Silent Hill F,
Oh yeah, I
which
forgot
is
about that. I didn't realize that was coming
yeah,
out so soon.
yeah. I mean, I guess at the end of August, there's Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which is right next to the end, like the beginning of September.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot that's releasing in the next month, essentially, and I just can't add another game to that list. Basically,
Sure.
Hotel Barcelona, which is the game by Swery and Suda51, that releases in September. Don't have an exact date, but it releases in September. There's just so many games coming out in September that it's kind of nuts.
Yeah. Kirby comes out next week. Although I will say, just kind of a follow up on one of the thoughts that we had last week about Kirby and how the Switch 2 version will work. I did see somewhere in the last week that the new content is integrated into the old game. It's not separated out.
Oh,
And
thank
actually, it looks like the new content actually kind of encourages maybe a new playthrough, because at least from what I read, it looks like it's um, will kind of coincide with levels as you complete them, as opposed to like being like a separate like entry point. Kind of like, oh, do you want to play the Switch 2 version, or do you want to play the Switch content? So it doesn't even look like they're separating it out as like after game content. It looks like it's kind of like mixed in with as you are progressing through. So that looks interesting, at least. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's
That's next week.
That sounds way better than what they did with fucking Mario Party, which is just
Yes,
dog
like
shit.
much better, which was what I think we were both kind of worried about that after Mario Party. And it
Yeah.
looks like that's not the case. Well, TBD. I mean, obviously we'll see next week, but yeah, it looks like that we are dodging that bullet. It sounds like, so that's good. So hopefully the rest of the update is good too.
Yeah,
But
that sounds good.
mhm. um, anything else that you've been playing you want to talk about?
No, but I would like to move over to Gamescom and the Kirby Direct whenever you're ready, because
Yeah,
I
I
got
mean,
a lot to talk about here.
well, like I said, I'll talk about my trip stuff
Yeah,
here,
do
I
that
guess.
first. That sounds like a good idea.
And give you a little bit of give you a little bit of a talking break. And like I said, some of the stuff that I have to talk about, so like slightly topical, I suppose. So
Mhm.
I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast, but so I went to Italy this year. So that's where I was for the 2 weeks that we were on break. So I did quite a lot. It really, though, interestingly, unlike a lot of the other places I feel like I went to recently, not as much kind of like direct video game ties in some ways. But there were still some things too. Assassin's Creed always seems to be a popular theme. Um, so, but at least in terms of my trip, it started out in Venice. Venice was wonderful, actually. I don't think there's a place in the world that I've ever been to that's very similar to it. Like, so strange. There's no cars, and they use boats to get around everywhere, and it's great. Like, it's actually, it's so different. It's refreshing, and it was just kind of nice to get around. But the one thing that I kind of thought about, like when I was walking through the city, is sometimes you'll play a game and you'll be like, "Who made this map?" Like, no, like nobody would make a map this ridiculous. Okay, Venice is that map. Um, Everywhere you walk, there's like all these little like side streets and alleys, and they all kind of generally head in like similar directions, but different directions. Um, so when I was using like Google Maps, well, not Google Maps, I don't use Google Maps. When I was using like maps to get through, Um, I was like, oh, we got to turn down this little alley and follow this to the end, and then take the right, and then a quick left into this other small alley. And you're always walking down like these kind of like tight corridors, but they all have like just random shops and restaurants or whatever inside them. Like you never like every turn was a surprise. It was pretty cool. Um, and like I said, just kind of like lots of water, lots of different things to see. Um, so I thought that was really interesting there. Um, the one thing I did see kind of video game related in all the different places was like lots of knockoff like Nintendo things. I sent you guys a picture of some really creepy looking Mario glass figures that they made. Um, so there's an island right off of Venice called Murano. It's known for their glass work, and one of the glass artisans made all these kind of like really creepy Nintendo looking figures. I did see some other ones too at a different place that had like Pikachu, and I did see some like Dragon Ball Z ones too. And I was like, these are ridiculous. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy them, but I kind of appreciate that they exist. So that was kind of funny there. Um, Next place we went to was Rimini, which is kind of like a seaside kind of town. Kind of reminds me of like a Myrtle Beach-esque kind of place, if you're looking for kind of a visual kind of similarity.
So I'm looking in our chat. You never sent the figure.
Yeah, I did.
I don't see it anywhere.
Because I remember the message that I sent with it too, and Nick laughed at it. I was like, oh, I really don't like the new Donkey Kong look or something. Let me see if I can find it again.
I mean, dumb. I'm not seeing them. You can continue talking. I'll continue scrolling. Maybe it's further up than I thought it was.
It was probably really close to the beginning of the trip. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I found
July
it. Oh
29th.
my god.
Yeah. So they were pretty creepy.
Bro, I like those new Donkey Kong now. That's really good.
Yeah, that Donkey Kong, terrifying.
I like it.
Actually, when I looking at, I didn't even realize I was so focused on the Nintendo stuff. Actually,
You didn't realize the Roadrunner and Coyote in the background?
Yeah, those look really good. Actually,
I really like them. Yeah, I was gonna say those look cool.
Yeah, like I said, some of the stuff there was really cool. But because it's like artisan glass stuff, even like the really small figures were like $50, and I'm like that's cool, but I'm like I don't like it that much. Um, so yeah, but that kind of stuff was really cool. After that, we went to Rimini. There really wasn't too much there. It was kind of a beach town, but they did actually have like like one of those like electronic like teeter totters that you can kind of sit on and ride on. They had one where it was like Yoshi and Mario, and you could kind of like sit on Yoshi. I was too big for it, but I did take
Bro,
a
there's
picture of it.
just so much fucking bootleg stuff there, I guess.
Yeah, Italy is really interesting for that kind of stuff. And actually, too, I was kind of thinking about it. My goal when I went there was to buy like souvenirs for people because I was like, my family's Italian, and I was like, oh, I'll bring back some stuff from the homeland or whatever, and you get you some cool stuff. Gift wise, like there really was. You're either getting like they either had like really really crappy like tourist stuff or like artisan stuff, which was I'm like it was way too expensive for kind of the stuff that I was looking for gift wise. So I was like I'm not really. I'm like I'll get them some cooler stuff I guess later, um, but yeah, that was kind of I did have a great time with Pokemon Go through the whole trip because there's so many like Pokemon like stops and stuff there because the one thing that's interesting about like Italy is like everything's historical like everywhere all the time. So there's like interesting like monuments and artifacts like every few feet. Like I didn't even really feel like you go that far and you're like, oh, here's a historic church. Oh, here's some historic like Roman statue that's been there for 2,000 years. Um, so it's all kind of really cool stuff like that. Yeah, after that we headed to Florence, which is kind of where I forgot to remember about Assassin's Creed because we were sitting at a restaurant and I sent you guys a picture of it. But one of the restaurant we were at on their I don't know what to call it, the table setting, like the paper thing that they put the trays on, or the plates, like the place setting. It had Assassin's Creed, it had Ezio on it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like I forgot that was going on here. And then I looked into it. I was like, oh, it literally takes place in Florence. I actually like just kind of like FYI, like the next time like I can see Assassin's Creed 2 on sale, like I'm picking it up. I'm like so set on playing it to kind of see what kind of what they did with that representation of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is really interesting, and even kind of like looking into the historical stuff. That's one thing I always kind of like about like Assassin's Creed and the historical stuff and even kind of how like video games a lot of times tie into these historical places. Because I was looking up Assassin's Creed, and then I was like, well, what historical stuff does it reference? And I was like, oh, I was like at that building. I'm like, I climbed that building today, and then it was talking about like these historical events that I did not know about because they were not talked about kind of in the places that we were going around to. And I was like, oh, I'm like, I really want to learn more about that. And I fell into this huge like Wikipedia hole about like the history of Florence, and especially kind of in the setting of like the time frame of Assassin's Creed. And I'm like, this is so fascinating. And I'm like, I was saying to DJ the next day, I'm like, hey, remember that palace that we walked by yesterday? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, they murdered a bunch of people there and hung them from the windows when they were trying to overthrow the government of Florence. And I was like, that's wild. I'm like, I didn't know anything about this. He's like, where did you learn this from? I was like, Wikipedia. And he's like, well, why were you looking it up? I'm like, Assassin's Creed. Um, so yeah, so I'm really actually kind of excited to see what it is. There's one big historical building in Florence. It's a big cathedral. Everyone refers to it as the Duomo because of its like really cool dome. I got to climb up to the top of that, and it sounds like it, at least from what I had read, and I'm kind of excited to see. I don't want to spoil it for myself, but it sounds like it's featured in the game. So I'm like, I really kind of want to see what that's there, what that's about, because it definitely existed during that time frame of Assassin's Creed in the game context when it was. So um, that was really cool. I also learned to. I'm guessing you probably played Assassin's Creed 2, right?
Yeah, I played all of them.
Okay, yeah. So
I haven't
um,
played the newest Assassin's Creed, but I've literally played every Assassin's Creed before this one.
okay, yeah. And I also read too. It goes to Venice too, and I was like, oh, I'm like that's really cool because a lot of the places in Venice that we saw, like Doge's Palace and things like that, sound like they're also featured in Assassin's Creed 2. So I'm like, I really have to check this out because I'm actually that got me like really excited to kind of revisit the places and even see if like I could recognize some of the streets and stuff like that. Because you think about it, like it's hard for us to imagine and like where we live, but places like Venice have been lived in for like 1500 years. Like those roads did not change that much in that much time. And kind of the same thing with Florence. A lot of like the original like sidewalks and roads and stuff are still very much in place. So I'm like, it would be really interesting to see, how many other recognizable landmarks I may recognize just kind of walking through that city. So I thought that's really cool. Actually, also extra kind of thing that just kind of came up in a very unrelated thing to this trip, but actually related to this conversation. Assassin's Creed apparently it looks like it looks like a very new YouTube channel, like less than 3 months old, but it looks like they actually started like a historical channel where they have historians kind of go through their games and kind of point out like a lot of the historical stuff that's in there. I watched one about Alexandria yesterday, and I thought that was super fascinating. So for people who are looking for kind of more of the historical stuff, like there is also that kind of angle there too. Um, so yeah, so I will update that. The only reason I have not bought Assassin's Creed 2 yet is because Ubisoft is notorious for putting their stuff on sale all the freaking time. And of course,
Sure.
like the one time I want it, it's not on sale. So I'm like, I'll just wait until the price drops down to $15 again for the deluxe edition. So yeah, because you really can't beat that price. Like it's fantastic. Like if anything, Ubisoft's great at dropping the prices of their games very regularly. So um, yeah, so there is that. Um, from there, we went to Rome and got to see, all like the big stuff at Rome. Um, so one thing that I think one of the most interesting things to me in Rome, kind of video game related, was so obviously, well, not obviously, this is uh, kind of a conversation that happened before the podcast, and also, conversation that happened 8 months ago. But I really loved Indiana Jones and the Great Circle when that came out at the end of last year. It was just recently announced for the Switch too, and by recently I mean like a couple hours ago. So I'm really excited to buy that because it's one game that I was looking out for on the Switch because I had a feeling Microsoft might go and go that route because that game did so well for them and open up those doors. And I'm pretty optimistic because Bethesda usually does a pretty good job about bringing their games over to the Switch. At least they had been. So looking forward to that. Anyways, one of the sections in the Great Circle is the Vatican, and I'm like, what may I recognize here from the Vatican. Really, there wasn't that much. There is one parking lot area, which I think was kind of one of the open area sections of the game, which I kind of wanted to compare between my pictures and kind of see that, which I had not done yet. But the one thing that I thought was super interesting is when I got to the Sistine Chapel, I knew exactly which door I was entering in because of Indiana Jones. I was like, I know where I'm coming into the Sistine
That's really
Chapel.
cool.
I know which way I'm going to be moving through it, and I know kind of just the general layout of the things that I'm looking for in there. And I thought that was awesome. Um, so that was really cool to kind of feel that out there too. And also too, just before the podcast, they did release that new trailer for the DLC, which I did get to kind of skim through fast. And it looks like that's going to be taking place in Rome, and it's going to feature the Colosseum in some way, which is another thing. Obviously, I did go and see when I was at Rome, which is pretty incredible to see. It's I don't know, it's kind of mind blowing to see these really old historical buildings and kind of see. Yeah, so I don't know. It was really kind of wild seeing the Colosseum. So, and it'll be pretty interesting to kind of get to explore it even more, kind of with Indiana Jones. I love that game. It was definitely one of my favorite games last year. And I've been really itching to play it again. I'm like just begging for reasons to play it again. So, DLC is definitely a good reason. And definitely on the Switch too when that comes out. I like day one. I'm like all in. Even if it is like a slightly lesser version, I just love that game to pieces. So, very excited about that. Um, and like I said, really cool. It's neat that they pulled in that historical stuff, and even too, just kind of my recollections even from the Egypt section of that game, all very familiar as well. Although granted, like it's not like the Pizza Huts across the street from the pyramids, like in real life. So whatever. Um, what do we do after Rome? Also, I will say too, like the Vatican, like they do actually like hoard everything. I have never been so overwhelmed in like a museum in my life. They like I you could probably easily spend like a week there and not see everything. It is just so packed to the brim with just all sorts of like random stuff. Um, it's really cool. Uh, let's see. After that, we went to Naples. Um, and a big thing that we wanted to do at Naples was really to see Pompeii and Herculaneum, which were, if you recall in history, they were buried under like volcano, basically, and were excavated and were very well preserved. Almost 2,000 years later. Um, and so that was pretty wild to see, kind of seeing what, an ancient Roman city would have looked like and kind of see things like that. And you really don't, I think the one thing, like, I knew the city was buried, like, I understood that, but to really see it firsthand and kind of like see what the difference, like, how buried it was, it's pretty astounding. Like, there's one part of the tour, which I'll never forget. We walked into a cave and there was kind of like, this little statue in the middle and maybe like some benches and like a little like window that was kind of there for light to go in, and our guide was like, this was a pool, and I was like, oh, very nice. I'm like, it's very kind of cold in here, so I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, it probably helps with like you can take a nice swim with when it's hot out and not be in the sun. And then how do you put it, he's like, this was an open air pool. So really what, like this cave that I was in, that entire like dome and like all like the multiple feet of rock that was like above our heads, um that was all from the volcano from that day that buried it. Like they were underneath, like feet upon feet upon feet upon feet of rock that was pushed out from the volcano. um like it wasn't just like, oh, we're lightly covered. Like, no, it's like you needed to dig down like 20 feet. Like it was not like right at the surface. Like it was buried. So it was pretty wild to see, kind of you can see like, well, this seems like a really dumb like historical move, but like there are now city there, like there is more city right outside of Pompeii and there's more city right outside of Herculaneum. Both these cities that were completely buried by this volcanic explosion. And people are just kind of like la la la. it's we're just here living our lives and hoping this volcano doesn't blow up again. It is still an active volcano. It actually erupted again um, in like 1940s. So not that long ago, but in terms of like that sheer amount of volume, I don't think they've had anything like that since, that original blast, like 2000 years ago. It still just kind of seems wild to me, like, oh, let's live at the foot of a volcano and just hope for the best. Um, we went to a shopping mall in Pompeii, and I just kind of imagine I'm like, if I was gonna make a movie called Pompeii 2, like this is where I would start the movie. Like right here in this shopping mall and be like, oh, we're gonna have a good time right at this foot of this volcano and nothing bad can happen today. Um, so yeah, no, that was all that. Um, yeah, I mean, I think those are kind of like the big highlights of my trip. I mean, we did see like an exhausting amount of things, and I don't even I think I could probably talk for 4 hours and still not cover everything. But those are, like I said, kind of the big things that really stood out to me, kind of as we went through. Super excited to play Assassin's Creed 2 once that goes back on sale again. I already have like a price alert set, so I'm gonna dig into that, and then yeah. So TBD. Stay tuned. I'll have an update on
Okay.
that side of things. Any questions? Anything you were kind of curious about? Do you think I might?
No, not really. You kind of gave me a whole rundown of everything there. I don't really have that much that I'm curious about.
Yeah.
Is
You
there
know,
anything you want to like share with me in particular, other than
mm,
that? Like, is there anything else that stood out that you want to like talk about
stood out there. Let
from
me
your trip?
think. Um, things I liked. Food was pretty good, I would
Okay.
say. For the
What'd you
most
eat?
part. So I tried to eat a bunch of different things. So I did a mix of actually I actually tried to make sure I did not eat the same thing twice. So I was always trying to like pick out like different things and different kind of pastas, especially pastas that I did not know. There was one restaurant we went to and I was like, oh, ravioli, and it was the most disgusting thing I've ever had. So bad I almost put a review just to be like, I do not know who approved this ravioli, but it needs to go. And what I mean by that, so it was like they had a really like nice description. It was like, oh, you know, peppercorn meat filled ravioli basted in olive oil and basil, like buttery goodness or whatever. And I was like, oh, that sounds delicious. But really, what it was like when it came out, the oil all fell off of the ravioli, so it was like literally just eating wet ravioli, like just straight out of the water with no flavor on the outside. And then when you bit in the inside, it was like uh dog meat that was it was spicy but not flavorful. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like it was
It
not
sort of does. It's like it says spice, but there's nothing to it. It's
yeah, like
hot.
it was not
The flavor is hot.
yeah, it was just like it was just spicy for the sake of being spicy, but not like enjoyable. Like it was no there was no and there was no
Sir,
like
you barely
the
touched
flavor
your
to it.
ravioli. Is there a problem? Yeah, it tastes like shit.
Yeah, it tastes like shit, and also it came out like Vesuvius afterwards. Like it was not appealing. Like I was actually like, there's very few like things like food things that make me angry like days later. But I distinctly remember like 2 days later being in Rome and being like that ravioli pissed me off so much.
Mhm.
Um, so like that was kind of like a bad side
Should have
of
made
things.
it your mission to try to get another ravioli and see if that place just sucked.
No, I was not thrilled. I'm like, I'm not going back there again. Um, but then there was like I had really good things. Like I had like trying to think what I did have that I really like. I had a tortellini that I like absolutely loved. I had some sort of like green basil sauce that was fantastic. Um, the last meal that we had there, I ended up having some sort of um pasta dish. Like I think it was like a rigatoni with like some like meatball. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Like rigatoni with like some like beef, and it was like absolutely fantastic. I love that. I was really questionable on the pizza because Italian pizza's like a lot different than what we get at home.
Mhm.
Um it's one of the things like when I talk about food on trips, um like pizza has become a very American thing for me. I think that we do pizza very well. Same thing in Italy, I would say, like like the US, like every kind of region of Italy has kind of like a slightly different pizza and kind of the same, as we worked our way down, the pizzas were a bit different. The pizza that I ended up having was so much better than a lot of pizzas that I ended up seeing during the trip, and I'm like, I really lucked out because this pizza is like excellent, and a lot of the pizzas that I had saw like people eating as we were going through, I don't think I would have liked. So, um, but I did end up enjoying that. I think it was kind of more of like a Napoli style, like a Naples kind of style pizza,
Okay.
um, which ended up being very good. Kind of, I guess, if I was gonna say it, like something probably very similar to what we would consider like New York style, like kind of like thin crust kind of pizza, but that ended up being very good. I'm not like a big seafood person, but I do like clams every once in a while. I did end up having um clams and mussels, and I thought those were all really excellent and tasted really good. Um, and they do, I don't know, they kind of have like these really weird kind of snack things that I really enjoy that you get at like the tables. They almost look like little mini like bagels, but they kind of have the consistency of like a pretzel.
Okay.
Um, I love them. And they had all sorts of different flavors, and I like was just very happy every time I got those. So those kind of things were all really good. I would say overall, like I did generally enjoy like most of the food that I had there. Like the ravioli was kind of more like the extreme like bad, but everything else that I had was somewhere from like, you know, uh good to great, I would say.
Okay.
I did have one person, we ran into like this random person in the when we were in the Vatican on our Vatican tour, and he was from Florida, and he was talking about how much he did not like the Italian food, because it was not like going to the Olive Garden. Like, and I was like thinking to myself, I'm like Olive Garden is like American shit. Like, of course, it's not like going to the Olive Garden. Like, he's like, I'll order these things, but he's like, I don't get the salad, and I don't get the side bread, and I don't get this other stuff, and it's because the way it works like in Italy, a lot of times, like when you get like an entree, like that's it. If you want a side dish, you order the side dish, and they are priced appropriately. Like, it's not like it's more expensive. Honestly, the food there was much cheaper. Like DJ and I ate much cheaper eating out than we ever would at home. Um, but it's just kind of like you have to you actually order the things that you want, as opposed to just getting a bunch of stuff that you may or may not want. Um, I also fell in love with gelato. I did really like that a lot. It's just kind of like much more flavorful ice cream is probably the best way to describe it. Um, Usually much more of a fruit base, and I ended up going back there a couple times. Actually, kind of funny side conversation. DJ asked me at one point, he's like, do Italians really like gelato, or is it like a tourist thing? And I'm like, oh, I think it's an Italian thing, because I'm like, if you think about it, like in the US, like even like for us, in the city, or if you go to the small towns, every place has their own ice cream place. In Italy, it's basically like every place has their own gelato place, and they're really easy to find, and there's lots of different options there. But there was one church that we were at, and this just killed me. They had like special like religious gelato. Like, it was literally a church had a special thing that was set up, and they're like, "Hey, this is holy gelato." It was like they were celebrating like a special event, and they're like, "For today only, you can get this special um like themed gelato that had to do with this kind of event that they were celebrating, this miracle gelato." Um, so that kind of stuff was food, or that kind of stuff was fun. Obviously, that kind of stuff was food. Um, but yeah, that kind of stuff I thought was really interesting. Kind of on that side of things there. Um, and also too, I just thought it was kind of, aside from food stuff, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I always really enjoy playing Pokemon Go when I'm on these trips, because it does kind of help find out. You can find a lot of kind of random things that are near you, and it's always kind of funny to see the things that they make into gyms or whatever. Like, I was temporarily um, the gym master for Michelangelo's David, like ever, that real famous like statue. Um, that everyone knows. So there's that. Oh, actually, it does remind me. I did see the burial places of two of the four Ninja Turtles. So I got to see where
Okay.
Donatello, and I got to see where Raphael were buried.
I was
I
gonna
did
say
not see.
Raphael. Nice.
I did not see the burial places of Leonardo or Michelangelo. So maybe in a future trip. Um, but I was like, oh, that's really random. Like, and also too, like where we saw them, it was just in very random places. Like we were just kind of like one was in the Pantheon, and we are just kind of like, oh, okay. Like makes sense. It's a big, historical kind of landmark in Rome. Sure, let's put a big historical, artist in there too. But we were at another just kind of random church in Florence, and they're
This is
like, oh, here's
here. This is where this person's dead.
yeah, they're like,
Basically,
yeah, they're basically like, here lies Donatello, and they're like, what? Like, okay, like we weren't really like looking for it. There wasn't anything that kind of pointed out. I'm sure if I went online and looked, like I could have seen it, but yeah, no, just totally out of nowhere. I was just kind of yep, here's Donatello. We're like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of cool. Um, so yeah, that was kind of another just kind of random thing that kind of came up, just as we were there. Yeah, but I think those are kind of my like random musings. I'm sure I'll think of other stuff. Um, as kind of time goes on, I'll probably think of some other thing like, oh yeah, this is kind of relevant. Or obviously, with stuff for Indiana Jones, I'm sure I'll probably be like, oh yeah, I was there. Um, but yeah, those are at least kind of the highlights, as I go through. I don't think of anything else. I'll bring it up, kind of as we go around, and especially too when I finally get to play Assassin's Creed 2 and can kind of compare notes on that side of things too. Um, yeah, it was a really good trip. I will say, in terms of places that I've been, you always hear people talk about like, oh, this place is great, this place is great. I will say, for what it's worth, Italy was very crowded. There were a lot of tourists there. It was very busy. Especially this time of year. We were packed like sardines a lot of places. Um, but I will say it lived up to the hype. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was um very and very very much lived up to kind of expectations and kind of the things that you can do. And there's just such a ridiculous amount of things to see there because of their history. Like I said, it literally just felt like you go down a block and there's like, oh, like here's a random church. Oh, Donatello just happens to be buried there. Who knows? Um, and you just kind of you see stuff like that, or you go into like thing, and it'll be like, oh, this statue was made by Michelangelo, or this family was really famous, and then you like read more into it, and they're like, oh yeah, they were featured in Assassin's Creed, and they were kind of did all this other stuff, and you're like, oh, things all really do kind of cycle around, and there's so much compact history there that it's a lot to pull through. But I definitely if Italy is on listener whoever's bucket list, I'd say yeah, definitely worth kind of doing. Probably don't go in the middle of August. It is quite busy back then. Um, and although I think one thing that was surprisingly we lucked out on was Italy is known for being quite hot this time of year, and we definitely had some days that were were pretty hot. But for whatever um, reason, like we really lucked out. We hit a break in the temperature, and it was actually colder there than it was here for at
oh,
least most of the trip that we were gone. And I kind of laughed because one of our friends, when we talked about going last year, they were talking about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we want to go in August or in April or something." And so DJ and I talked about it. I was like, "Oh yeah, we'll go in August because that's usually when we go on our trip." So we told them that we were going, and then they're like, "Oh, we misspoke. It's too hot to go in August." So I could not resist sending them a thing. I'm like, "Oh yeah, nothing beating the heat in Italy," and they were just like, they're like, "Screw you, Mike." I'm like, yeah, because it was like 70s in the 70s there, and here it was in the 90s, and I was like, oh my God,
yeah, it's
what
in
did
the
that have to do with
90s
it?
right now here. Like shit sucks.
Yeah, weather's been ridiculous. It's still ridiculous.
It's 8
Um,
fucking p.m. and it's 90 degrees outside. Go fuck
yeah,
yourself, weather.
yeah, it needs to cool down. Um, I mean, I like the heat as much as anyone else, but
I got
I
shit
definitely am
to
not
do.
looking forward to
Go
winter.
fuck yourself, weather.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do stuff. You can't do anything outside when it's like this. My grass all died while we were gone. Um, so yeah, so that is that. But anyways, can we move on to Gamescom?
Yes, let's talk about that.
Okay.
So, I watched Gamescom. I know you said you didn't, correct?
I did not because I think a lot of this was going on while I was at work today. I think so.
Yeah, it started at 2 p.m.
Okay, so yeah, definitely was not able to see. The only thing I really saw was a couple news blurbs here and there, and then the Indiana Jones thing, which I already kind of talked about
Hmm.
in there. So
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and tell you what we started the show with. So like the show opened up and
Mhm.
literally we started the show by Jeff Keighley being like, Silksong is real. It does exist. It releases this year. Here's a little bit of new footage from it. The people that are developing Hollow Knight Silksong have a very special announcement on Thursday. So in 48 hours, you will get an announcement from the creators of Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm not the one that will be presenting that announcement. They would like to do it themselves. You'll be able to find it on their YouTube channel.
Mhm.
My guess, right? If you want to hear my honest guess, this
Yeah.
is what I think is going to happen, and I could be way off, but I think this is what's going to happen. I think they had a uh, deal with Gamescom
Uh-huh.
to have Silksong first playable at Gamescom. Uh, Let me see when Gamescom ends. When does Gamescom 2025 end? Yeah, so it ends on the 24th, so on Sunday. I think what is going to happen is either on Thursday the announcement is going to be here's the release date, or the
Mhm.
announcement is going to be here is the release.
Okay.
So
Makes sense,
like
I
either
suppose.
they
Mhm.
instantly release it on Thursday after Gamescom got their 2 days of experience with it being the first that we're allowed to play it,
Mhm.
or they give the release date on Thursday when that announcement comes around. I don't know which one yet, but it's sure is a game that
Mhm.
exists. They told us it exists.
Yeah.
So moving on from that, that was literally how we started Gamescom. So the next thing we went into was Black Ops 7, which is
Uh-huh.
very, very weird. So they were showing off the campaign for Black Ops 7, and it almost has like a Scarecrow fear toxin vibe,
Okay.
where it feels like the game changes into like some kind of like cosmic horror after they get trapped in this one room and this gas starts filling up the room, and then when they wake up they're like reliving their memories, but they're like corrupted and they're like fighting like like giant versions of like the antagonists from past Black Ops games, and
Mhm.
like the roads are like just completely twisting and turning and upside down like an MC Escher painting, and really weird stuff is going on. And it feels like the campaign for Black Ops 7 might actually be pretty good. And they also announced that there is a co-op campaign as well called The End Game,
Mhm.
which is a continuation of the other campaign, but it's fully co-op. It's like the whole thing can be played in co-op.
Okay.
So that was kind of weird. It looked like Black Ops, like it's as simple as that. It looked like Black Ops. We're going back to jetpacks and wall riding and stuff like that. A lot of the things that people hated in Call of Duty is coming back for this Call of Duty. I thought it looked all right, at least for the campaign and the PvE elements of it. I
Mhm.
don't necessarily like, I'm not really looking forward to it that much, but I don't really hate it either. So it is what it is essentially. I'll probably play it. But and it was just kind of meh. The only thing that was interesting was like the single player campaign with its like like cosmic horror elements to it that were going on. That was kind of cool. But otherwise, it felt like a Call of Duty showing where it's a whole lot of nothing. So.
Oh yeah.
Uh, After that, they announced Lords of the Fallen 2, which is a sequel to Lords of the Fallen, which was one of like the first Souls likes that wasn't made by FromSoft. Uh, it's looked fine, I guess. It's whatever. We then moved on to like a Sekiro anime announcement with a trailer, and a lot of people are fucking like clowning on it, but I think it looks good. It's got like a really unique art style that seems like very odd. Like it's kind of got like some abstract like brushstrokes like feeling going on there. I don't really know. They then announced a Batman Lego game, like a open world Batman Lego game. It looked like,
Yeah, it has
uh,
been rumored for a little bit as well.
and it seemed to be
Um,
going through like the Dark Knight trilogy. So
that
yeah, it
sounds
looked kind of
right.
neat.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, they announced a sequel to Warhammer 40K Dawn of War with Dawn of War 4. they announced a update to Monster Hunter where they're having a crossover with Final Fantasy 14, and then Final Fantasy 14 is also having a crossover with Monster Hunter. You know, that sort of deal. They showed off some more Onimusha, which looked good. They showed off Europa and then Fallout Season 2. They then announced the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle expansion, which comes out on September 4th. And at the end of the trailer for it, they announced that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to Switch 2 in 2026, which looked
Super
cool.
exciting. Mm-hmm.
We then had like World of Tanks showing off their new update, and Saber showing off a new zombie game similar to like Left 4 Dead, but made by John Carpenter, called Toxic Commando. It just looked kind of like Battlefield Bad Company, but not good, combined with Left 4 Dead.
Okay.
I don't know. Then there was another game, and this one kind of looks like it's up my alley. It's from the creator of Monkey Island, and it's a roguelike game where the game is constantly scrolling up. It's called Death Scrolling. You know, very generic title, but it looks like a lot of fun. Essentially, it reminded me of like Vampire Survivors, but not like you're trying to earn money and get like equipment and stuff, but you're continuously having the bottom of the floor come up on you. So you're having to like constantly navigate through the world and fight enemies on your way up. It looked really fun. I think it would be fun. It looks enjoyable. So that. They showed a spiritual successor to Disco Elysium with Zero Paradises, I think is what it's called. They then announced Unbeatable, which is a game I've been looking forward to for a while. It is a rhythm game that has like an overarching plot, and the overarching plot is it's a rhythm game that you play where you have to fight the government because you're like an outlaw because music is illegal in this world, and you are a like musician. Listen to me, musician. Wow, I cannot speak today. You're a musician, and you're doing crime because you're performing music, and it's illegal in this world. It looks cool, looked interesting, looked like it'd be a lot of fun. This is probably the next one is a MMO tactical shooter, which I'd never heard of, called Cinder, and I think this was the announcement of it. But I thought this was a super interesting idea for a game. So essentially the way this game works is you go into areas that have like anomalies and like monsters and shit going on. I think this is the right one. Let me just double check. Oh no, this is not it. It's a different one. I don't know where it's at. I'll have to find the one. It's not Cinder. It's a different one. Oh, that's Project Spectrum. Spectrum. I'll talk about that later. Cinder didn't look good. Cinder looked kind of mid. So I'm not even going to talk about Cinder. Cinder's a whole lot of nothing. Sorry. We then looked at a little bit of Silent Hill F, which again comes out on the 25th. I thought it looked pretty interesting. I don't really know what's going on with this game. It looks very like the story is going to play like a huge part, but so is the combat, which is weird to me because combat seems to take a back seat normally with like Silent Hill games. And this one, it seemed like it was kind of front and center, but we'll see about that one. That one was kind of weird, but it did look good, so I'm excited to play that. I'm gonna scroll through some things that I did not care about that don't really matter. I'll go over a few expansions. So Enshrouded, which is a game that's been really popular on Steam, is getting an update soon. They then showed off the Age of Empires 4 is coming to PS5, and then they showed off a DLC for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 it looks really good. That's a game that I really need to try, but I just haven't had the time yet. And then the last like DLC from this like sizzle reel essentially of like just DLC or update is Cult of the Lamb Woolhaven, which is a brand new expansion for Cult of the Lamb that releases next year. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Then we saw World of Warcraft Midnight, which was the opening cinematic. Those cinematics always look good. But then we moved to the game that I wanted to talk about, which is called Project Spectrum. Spectrum, which is a game from the developers that are making Delta Force, which released today. But I'm going to tell you this right now. This game looked really interesting. So you're being interviewed by like a colleague or something, and he's like playing a tape for you and asking you, hey, what happened when you went in there? And it's
Hmm.
like a tactical FPS, but you're going into like these supernatural places and having to fight like these monsters. And when you do that, there's like a sanity system actually. And the
Okay.
sanity system makes it so like you start losing your mind. And it seems like, at least from the way it was presenting this first person horror PvPvE game, is you're fighting actual players who are attempting to do the same thing as you, but you're also fighting the monsters themselves that are in any given place. But the reason why you're fighting players is because the people that don't keep their sanity in check actually become the anomalies and monsters of these places, and they're playing as them, and you have to fight them. So sometimes you're fighting PvP, like PvE monsters, but sometimes it's actual players that are the monsters because they let their sanity not be in check, and now they are the monsters that you're fighting. It looked really interesting. It looked very mindfucky. It was super cool, and I kind of like the idea of like you can start as like a soldier trying to clear out these anomalies and these monsters and these crazy weird supernatural things, but if you don't maintain your sanity, you become them. And I like that. That seems really cool, like a really
Yeah, it's a
fun
good
idea.
concept. Yeah.
So, I don't know how good like this developer is, but I like the idea behind what they're doing. And maybe if they don't do it well, someone else can. So, either way, I like the fact that this general concept is out there now, and it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, hopefully they have the resources to and the time to be able to properly get their
Well, they didn't
well
give any
for the
announcement date. They didn't give any information other than showing a trailer of essentially how it works, which was
Mhm.
a cinematic, but then also the cinematic kind of pulled back to show that, oh, the next anomaly that you're fighting is actually a player that succumbed to their insanity and became the monster. And it was like, okay, that's fucking cool. So
Yeah.
yeah. They showed Ghost of Yotoi, some more stuff from that, and they also announced that they're going to have DLC next year that is free for Ghost of Yotoi. That will be the co-op multiplayer that will be free again, just like it was in Ghost of Tsushima. Looks awesome. I actually think this game looks fantastic. And then we had a one more thing, which was the final thing they showed off, which was Resident Evil Requiem. This game looks fucking brutal. Like, absolutely brutal. Like, you're just. It shows the mother and the daughter pair who are, like, the daughter is, like, researching something on her laptop, and all the power in the building that they're staying at goes out. And they go downstairs, and like the person that's like owns the building is talking with them. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry about the power outage. We'll take care of it." And then like you see a man come up behind the guy and throw like a plastic bag over the dude's head and slit his throat while suffocating him. And I was just like, "Oh shit. That's not a zombie. That's just a crazy dude." And it was kind of like that, like they're being hunted by something,
Yeah.
some group of people that wants them dead, but these
Mhm.
groups of people don't feel like, you know, they don't feel like monsters. They feel like real, like normal people that are psychopathic killers. So that's very different for a Resident Evil game, and it looked super interesting the way it was presented. And that was kind of like our last main game. But wait,
Mhm.
no, it wasn't. You know how Jeff Keighley likes to do his one more things.
Yeah.
And his last one more thing was a sequel to Black Myth Wukong,
Okay.
which I do not know how to pronounce because I don't know the entire story of Journey to the East. Journey to the East? That's it, right?
Mhm.
Did I get that right?
I have no
Yeah,
clue.
Journey to the East. I don't know
Okay.
the whole story of it, but
Uh-huh.
apparently in the story it swaps around to different characters, and this next one that it shows is called Black Myth Zongkoi, which is a new character in the like story who essentially um has something to do with spirits and ghosts and stuff. And yeah, so it's a completely different character from the last game that you're playing as this time, but it's in the same universe and it's continuing the story. Because apparently the way this works is in Journey to the East, they kind of hop around from like character to character. And
Hmm.
like it's an overarching full story and not necessarily just like the story of just one character.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is the next character whose story they're going to tell. And it's not a DLC, it's a brand new game. So that was announced as the final thing, and it looked really good. But then again, Black Myth Wukong was a game that when it was shown off initially, since it was from a new, developer, a new company, most people didn't think it was real because it looked so good.
Hmm.
And then it released and it still looked as good as what they originally showed off, and it was real. So I fully believe that what we saw here was actual like gameplay in game because of that. So yeah. Game Science does really impressive things with whatever this engine is. I think it might actually be Unreal Engine 5, but I think they've done some tweaks to it to make it not dog shit. So,
Well, it sounds like at least they had some interesting stuff to keep things fresh, for the beginning of Gamescom. So hopefully
there
they
was
have more
something
stuff
really
coming.
interesting that came out of nowhere
Yeah.
that was shown as like a hey, we'll be back after these messages, but it's not actually messages, it's just sponsors for Gamescom.
Hmm.
But sometimes those sponsors were just other games announcements. And oddly enough, one of the trailers we got was Vampire the Masquerade 2 Bloodlines. You know, that game that vanished off the face of the fucking earth after being delayed and restarted 3 times?
Yeah.
But we got a trailer for it, and then a fucking release date that's in October of this year. Came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're saying October, it's gotta be pretty far along at this point. So
I
that is
mean,
pretty surprising.
I would expect it to be pretty far along if it releases in like a month and a half.
I
You
mean,
know,
we've definitely seen some questionable things in our time on this
that's
podcast,
true.
but
That's true.
I feel pretty optimistic to say that. Well, I don't know. The game could be complete garbage, and they're just like, get it out the door. Who knows? But that's pretty random and pretty cool. And it's nice to see projects finally finish up. So
Yeah, I don't know. It looked really cool in the trailer, but the whole time I was watching the trailer, I was like, I don't believe this game exists. I won't believe this game exists until I see a release date and it's in my hands. And then like it gave me a release date, and I was like, what? How do you disappear after delaying your game 3 times and then just show a random trailer offhandedly and give a release date at the end of the random trailer? That makes no sense. What is going on here? So I have a lot of fears that this might be a case of just get it out the door, like you mentioned. But I
mhm.
really hope I'm wrong because it looked really good.
Yeah,
So
hopefully we'll see. We'll know very soon. Anyways, do you want to talk about Kirby?
yeah,
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah, because we had that surprise direct today,
we did.
um, which I had not got to see. I mean, at least from what I read, it sounded like people were pretty optimistic on it. Some things that I do know that I can talk about, just to give you a little bit of a talking break. Um, one thing I thought was really cool, they did add some Kirby Air Riders music to the Nintendo Music app today. It's the first time we've had some Switch 2 music on there, so that's pretty cool. Um, and also B, the game's not even out yet, obviously. So there is that. The game was announced. They put it in their like hot holiday spot, so November 20th, I think, is what it was, or
Yeah, I think you're right.
whatever is around that time.
It's either that or
Um,
19th. I don't remember which one it was.
yeah, all I remember is that I'm pretty sure it's the 20th, but at least it's definitely around that kind of like just before Thanksgiving drop, where they like to put things.
Mhm.
Actually, believe it or not, later than I expected based on the kind of the like impending direct. I'm like, oh man, if they're shadow dropping a 45-minute Kirby Air Riders direct, I'm like, this game's coming out next month.
This
Nope, that
direct
is
was
coming.
weird. This direct was very weird. That's the first thing I'm going to say about it right now.
Yeah, so it's coming out in November, so obviously we kind of know that that's there. In terms of kind of just, thoughts in my head in terms of what that means for Metroid, um, it really doesn't help us narrow down anything. I don't think Metroid's coming out in September at this point because I feel like that's not enough time for them to really get that engine moving, and they probably would have wanted to do a 45-minute direct for Metroid 2, or at least something more sizable. So that says to me that it's not coming out next month. So um, we kind of have that side of things. But it doesn't really give us much room in terms of where it is. Doesn't necessarily mean it's not coming out. We know Pokemon is in October.
December is my guess. We get an announcement in October, release in December. That's my guess. I don't know. Otherwise, it's been delayed. It's one or the other.
My thought is it's going to be. I'm taking a slightly different prediction for it. I think that they're going to have Nintendo usually always does a September direct, like that's been going on for a long time. So I think we will get our normal general September Nintendo direct like usual. And my thought for Metroid placement is I think that they're going to stick it in between Pokemon and Kirby. Um, I think they're going to go with like an early November release date for Metroid. That's kind of what I'm pegging. It could be December too. I could see them going that way as well. But I mean, if you think about it, if they go December, they're going to go early December because they're not going to want it too close to Christmas. So
I thought they were going to go early December and then have it as a pack-in title for around Christmas with a new Switch release. That's my guess. It's like Switch 2.
They could, but I think if that was the case, they would want that out before Thanksgiving, which would make early November release a little bit of a sweeter deal. That's hard to say. I really don't know. I do think that obviously Metroid and Kirby are very different genres and they're targeting very different audiences. Like Kirby's clearly more of a multiplayer focused game, whereas Metroid's very clearly more of a single player game. So you're not really looking at competing audiences that much between the two. So I do think that, if they wanted to separate it out, 2 weeks from Pokemon, 2 weeks from Kirby and kind of, slip it in the middle there. I don't think that's unreasonable for them to do. And especially if they kind of do a little bit more information in a September direct that gives them, 2 months of lead up to the game, which seems a little bit more appropriate. So I could see them going that route. Hard to say. So we'll kind of have to see. I mean, we still have obviously too the other thing. I do think that Hyrule Warriors is going to be a December title because they title it as Winter, and Winter's generally very specifically related to December or December or January. I could see them sliding it into next year as well. But I feel like that's more likely to be a December title, and you're going to have a much harder time fighting titles in December than you will kind of if you spread them out in a little bit in November. So that's kind of my thinking. We'll see kind of where it plays out. But obviously it does sound like, Sakurai is pretty excited for this game. The game is the estimated file size right now on the eShop is 25 gigabytes. So for comparison's sake, it was something like Mario Kart World was like 23 point something gigabytes. And I think Donkey Kong was somewhere in like I think just less than 10 gigabytes. I want to say it was somewhere around 7 to 8, if I recall correctly. So this is a pretty sizable game. Obviously, it's not the final file size. I expect that number actually to probably come down a little bit. A lot of times they overestimate it slightly and then pull it back a little bit. But still, it seems like it's going to be a pretty sizable title. But it also falls in line with how Sakurai is because he can't say no. Like if anyone's like, "Hey, I got a feature idea," I'll be like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's go to town. Let's make it the best version we've ever experienced in our lifetimes." So we'll probably get a lot of that. I would not be surprised if a lot of it is music because obviously he has very good taste in music. It's evidenced by Smash, and it's like 1,000 songs that are available in that game. Okay, but those are my kind of 2 cents for things that I know for today so far. So what other kind of things did you want to talk about from the direct?
I thought this started out in a really, really, really weird way. Namely because it started out by him teaching us how to play, but like in the most hand-holdy feels like my man is just walking us through the general way of using a controller that I've ever seen in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like it was stretching out that time frame on purpose, because he's like, here's what happens when you hold down this button, the B button. This game is made to use only one button. But actually, not really. I lied. We're introducing a second button in this game. And I'm just like, okay, this feels really weird.
It's like, okay, sure.
But I will say, when he got to showing off the city trial mode, is that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that.
That shit was awesome. That looked like a lot of fun.
Well, that's what everyone wants to play on that game anyways.
Yeah. The actual air riding mode just seemed kind of meh, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But this game looked really good. It's just...
Yeah. It's just what?
It's just of the content he showed us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It felt very minimal. Like, there was a certain amount of riders, there was a certain amount of machines. The machines did a certain thing depending on which machine you're playing, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But if I recall correctly, there's only like 16 riders, I think, or something like that. It may be less, but it doesn't matter. And then like there's like, I think 8 courses in the normal riding mode, and I'm just sitting here like, this doesn't feel like a $70 game.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact this is $70, but I'm really happy that it's not $80. So, I don't know. It felt really weird to me because I was like looking at all the stuff he was presenting to us and showing off about the game, and I couldn't help but feel like this game and the amount of content here does not match up with the price point. However, I've never been a big Kirby Air Rider player. I dabbled it in the past, but never really sat down and played it. I only played it if it was there, like at like someone's house or at like a event or whatever. But this looked like a lot of fun. Like, it did look like a lot of fun. But I kept thinking to myself, and I kept thinking to myself, and I kept thinking to myself, and I hate that I had this mentality, but my brain just kept coming back to it. The city trials mode would just be perfect as a free-to-play thing with like, like cosmetics or something.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept thinking, like, this mode is what they're going to use to sell this $70 game, but I think they would make a lot more money from having this mode just be free to play, and they would probably get a lot more players and get a lot more popular that way. But
possible.
I don't know. I do feel like maybe City Trial mode would be better if it was like something included in Nintendo Online. Like, you just get that mode. You don't get the rest of the game, but you get that mode to play if you have the highest tier of Nintendo Online. And I think that would like really sell the highest tier of Nintendo Online, because it looked like a ton of fucking fun. But I'm not spending $70 to play a few rounds of that mode. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that was the same problem with the original Kirby Air Ride. Like, everyone, like, that game was pretty critically panned when it came out, because they're like, pretty basic, there's not a lot going on here, but everyone fucking loved the city trials. Like, that is why that game got the notoriety that it did. So it almost sounds like it's gone like full circle, where it's kind of like, it's come right back around to where it was. How long ago that was? 20 years ago. Kind of scary to think about. Yeah, I never played the original one because I was very turned off by that whole like simplistic design and kind of multiplayer focus of the game, because that really is what it is. But I'm trying to go into this with an open mind, and let's see what it is and kind of decide from there.
Yeah, me too. But like, what I saw here, although it looked great, it looked like a great game that I would definitely play if it was cheaper. Like, if this was like a $40 game, this is a no contest. I would absolutely buy this. If this was even a $50 game, I would probably buy this. But from what I saw, the content's just not there. Again.
Yeah. Although, if there is anything with Sakurai, like, he really doesn't fuck around with the content. So my kind of general thought is, if he had 45 minutes to talk there's probably a shit ton more that we don't know about that game.
Mhm.
I did read. I obviously have not seen it yet because it's kind of on my to-do list for either tonight or sometime this week.
It felt
Doing a
like
watch of it.
instead of the content being the maps or
Mhm.
like, you know, the race maps or like city trial maps, because city trial is only a single map.
Mhm.
It seemed like they tried to push a bunch of stuff into city trial, um, and a lot of events that can happen for like RNG sake to like extend the playstyle and the amount of times you will play city trial. But
Mhm.
the normal main mode, it seemed like what they were trying to do was um, extend the amount of playtime you would have based on the way different characters ride on different vehicles. Because there's multiple different characters, but there's also multiple different vehicles, and they operate differently based on the character and vehicle combination. And I was just
Yeah.
sitting here and I was like, I get that, but I would rather have like 20 tracks, than like 8 or 10,
Yeah.
than 16 characters and vehicles that I can mix and match. There's only going to be so many ways I can finish 8 tracks or 10 tracks
Mhm.
versus, I don't know. With those 16 characters, it's not going to leave a lot to be there. Doesn't make me desire this game that much. It is very pretty. It looked like it ran very well, except for a few, which I even noticed during this. There's a few like hiccups that you could clearly see during like big fights in city trials when a lot of shit's going on. Like they're dropping things from the sky and you're fighting all in one like little arena area. I mean, it looks good. I think this game looks awesome, and it would be a lot of fun if it was cheaper, or if I see that there's more content than what is already being shown, because it just feels like it's lacking content, and I would like more for the price tag that it is. Because if you think like, Mario Kart didn't give you a lot to do for $80, this looks like it gives you even less to do for 70. However, the pure amount of passion and like just enjoyment you could see Sakurai having while showing off this game is like infectious to a point where I'm like, I kind of want to play this man's game just because of how much he likes it, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know, man. There's just so many other things coming out in the next few months that it's like, this is like definitely in the back of my mind for a purchase decision.
Yeah, it's definitely I agree. It's not like I'll kind of watch and see and kind of see, if there's more favorable kind of information on it as we get closer out, but it's definitely not going to be, at least right now, not planned to be a day one purchase for me. Um, I'll kind of wait and see. Interestingly, actually, kind of side note, I did get a survey from Nintendo yesterday, asking about NSO and kind of features that I liked and thought that, I wanted to see more of, or things that I thought they could improve on. Um, One thing that they did have on the list, and I wish I actually wrote more about it because I actually forgot to write about it, but I was like, they did mention the vouchers, and I'm like, that is like the most valuable thing on that list. I'm like, there's two things that I thought said were the most important. It was vouchers and it was like the actual NSO games. Like
We need
the
those vouchers back, or we need them for Nintendo Switch 2 games. Like, it's simple as that. You want
yeah.
people to upgrade to your new console, you need to give them the same incentive that they had for buying games on your Switch 1.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
I think that's great, and it definitely makes.
I
I
would be
mean,
willing to drop if they had a voucher program for Switch 2. I
yeah,
would get Kirby and Metroid easy, or
yeah,
Kirby and Pokemon, easy, something like that.
yeah.
I feel like this
I
is
would
a
be much
very
more like that.
good what's the word I'm looking for? Like this is a very good secondary title for a voucher
Yes.
purchase
Hmm.
versus, the main title you're going to buy. And I
Exactly.
think they would sell a lot more if they brought back that system.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, my other comments on there though. I I feel like you'd be proud of me because I was basically like, your online servers are middling at best. Stop drip feeding content through NSO and the music app. And I'm like, it's ridiculous. These games have been out for decades, and you're giving us like one every few months. Um, so I'm like, do better. I'm like for the
I'm
for the
proud of you.
value. It's
I
not
was
bad.
fully expecting when you said I hope you're I feel like you'd be proud of me. I thought you were gonna bring up the performance of early titles on the Switch too.
This is about NSO and the cost balance, not about the Switch 2
I
titles.
know, but
Yeah. Yeah, no, there you go. So
but
I
I am
guess I
proud of you
didn't.
because there's no need to drip feed these titles other
Oh,
than FOMO. Honestly, like
yeah.
we got to keep
What?
you hooked into the service. Keep you paying for the service. Maybe
Yeah.
the title you're looking for will come out in a month. Maybe it won't. Maybe you need to buy 5 months of NSO instead of just one.
Yeah. And I understand slightly a bit more with like the GameCube stuff because it does seem like they're running into some issues with the emulation until they get that, settled. Sure, at least keep them regular, but there's no reason that, games on the NES system are still missing or Super Nintendo system are still missing or N64 are still missing. Like the only reason they're sitting on them is because they want to hold on to them for there's Game Boy stuff that still hasn't come out either. Like a lot of those classic games, like really just boggles my mind that they're just not available. So hopefully, I don't know. I doubt my like things.
Brother, none of the Pokemon games are available. None of them. Not
Yeah,
even like
no.
pinball. I want pinball. I want Pokemon pinball. It's literally
Well, I
all I
mean,
want.
they have some spin-off games.
They have
Um,
the card game
yeah, they have the
on,
card game
and that's
and the
it,
Mystery
right?
Dungeon.
Oh, they do
Uh,
have Mystery Dungeon. I forgot
the
about that.
Mystery Dungeon that they remade, even, which I think that's even kind of funnier because you can buy like the newer upgraded Switch version, or you can play the original, and they're both available. So, I think we were kind of talking about that. That was another game, kind of relevant to a conversation we had a couple weeks ago where we were talking about how, would Nintendo, re-release say like Wind Waker on the Switch if they already have the original out? Yeah, I think they will actually because it's a better value. Sure, why not? You get widescreen, you get HD, you get, some new features that make the game suck less. So
I'm going to say something
yeah.
that is controversial for some people, and some people it's not controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo fans, like Nintendo fans, like the people that are diehard Nintendo fans,
Mm-hmm.
are stupid enough to double dip on something even if they already have it. So I don't even doubt
Dude,
that they
I
would.
double dip on stuff all the time. You know this. I love double dipping.
I don't
That is
think
usually
you're. I'm not. Don't think you're stupid. I just mean like the people that are like, hey, I've got Wind Waker on NSO, but I'll buy the Wind Waker remake also. I don't think there's any reason for Nintendo not to do something like that because people are dumb enough to just.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
For Nintendo, there still would be a value there because enough people would go through and still
yeah,
buy.
yeah. People are
Yeah.
just. They see Nintendo on the title. They see Zelda, and they don't care if they already have it on their NSO. They want that other version, even if it's
Mm-hmm.
not a huge difference. There's a decent difference in Wind Waker. I'll give you that. Like there is a decent difference in Wind Waker. It's mostly the Wii U version. If that were to come with the Switch, the difference would be like uh what is it? Quality of life. Like
Mm-hmm.
like the faster sail or this, that, and the other, that sort of thing. The more streamlined, like in game of Wind Waker. But my main point is like Nintendo people will just shill for Nintendo things no matter what. So you could be like, "Hello, here's the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild and the Switch version," and they would still fucking buy it. They would
Yeah, there's some
still
people that
fucking
probably buy
buy it.
both.
Hmm.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah. Or I don't know. I mean, there's other stuff too. They always kind of mind about like the people who buy like both versions of the Pokemon games, and the third version comes out and they buy that too. Be like, okay, you just bought 3 versions of the same game. Like, just
Yep.
find some friends and trade. You don't even have to work that hard to do it. Like, you actually don't even need friends. Just
Especially with
go on
online
Reddit.
now.
Yeah.
Literally, you could just do it through online now. So.
Yeah, Pokemon Bank is fantastic. I use it all the
Hmm.
time for those kind of things. Um, and even too, there was some really clever like trading things that people had set up. What's the word I'm looking for? Like around the launch of like Scarlet and Violet, where it was like specific codes for specific
I
Pokemon.
went
So
back and
people would just go.
I've been playing Violet on my Switch too.
Mhm.
I put a few hours into it, like the beginning of it,
Yeah,
and that is a completely different game on Switch too.
yeah, it is. That's what I didn't even put that much time into. I think I've probably played maybe a grand total of excuse me, maybe like 5 minutes of that game
Hmm.
since the update, but like you notice it instantly. Like you don't even have to be like, oh, let me go find the how much better this is. Nope. You just turn it on and you're like, oh, this is a different game. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't even matter where you are. I think I
Like, it
spawned in the
still
middle of
has the
nowhere.
same weird engine things where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
here's a Pokemon that it clips through the ground because of the way the camera works, and it's in water, and the camera doesn't know how to fucking zoom in correctly when you throw out your Pokemon. It still
Yeah.
has those little quirks, but the Sunflora are no longer running at 2 FPS, so that's kind of impressive, you
Yeah,
know?
that is kind of nice. Still, it's still kind of fugly though. Like, I mean, I really wish that
Oh,
they
it
would
is. It
spend.
is. It is fugly because it's an engine issue, not necessarily a power issue. Like the engine does not look good for that.
Engine and some of it is, I don't want to say art direction, but I think it's just kind of like some of the like the they really just don't like it's like they just kind of learned how to make like a GameCube game. Like they're like
It's
two
like they
generations
learned.
behind.
I wouldn't even say two, man. I would say like four. It is really far behind. Because if you say two generations, then we have to go back to the Switch One. And if you say like another generation, so go Switch One, then go Wii U. These games still
Oh
look worse
yeah.
than many Wii U
Oh
games. Like
geez. Yep.
you know,
I did not count the appropriate amount of generations back there. Yeah, you're right. So 4 generations. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's like they're just learning how to do they. Because honestly, I
And I
think
saw
graphically,
video
like,
footage of the Pokemon Legends ZA today, and there is no improvement. I will say that. Like the engine is not improved. It's got some weird quirks about it. I don't
mhm,
necessarily think it's like dog shit and looks like really bad or anything, but like
yeah,
there's some really weird choices. Like I saw one of the green dog that's on the front cover that I don't know what the fuck its name is. Whatever. The
Zygarde.
one, yeah, that one. Like it looks at you, you look at it, it runs straight into you, and then you instantly teleport to the top of a building when it connects with you. And like the camera like zooms in on the building, and then poof, you just appear up there on the top of the building. And it's like very jank. It looks kind of like something someone would make in Unity, and it feels like there's a lot of limitations with the engine that they're currently working with, and that they also just don't care because they're here for a paycheck. Granted, I still think the gameplay itself looks pretty decent, but the amount of effort that's being put into this game looks practically non-existent. So, you know,
Yeah, and that is generally how I feel like a lot of the Pokemon games are. I see it repeated all the time online, and I think it is a very good thing to keep in mind. Whereas, Pokemon may have started out as a game series, but currently Pokemon is a merchandising series that
yeah,
just happens to sell games.
yeah.
Then
And
that's
I think
really
the
kind of where you
games
keep
are
the
the
mindset.
things. The games are the things that have the least amount of energy put into them. To be completely honest, like you look at the Pokemon trading card game, for instance, like the actual like card game with physical
Mhm.
cards, and the artwork and the quality of those things are like phenomenal. They're fantastic. You even
Well,
look
even
at the
if you look at the
TCG Pocket game, and the quality of that game is very, very good.
yeah,
You
I
look
mean,
at
if
the
you
upcoming
look at the
what is Pokemon Champions? Is that what's coming out in the future? You look at that, and there's a quality game there that for those specific people. You look at something like the Pokemon Netflix show. You look at all this stuff, and there's a lot of quality to these products, and that quality does not extend to the mainline game series, and it's infuriating.
Well, I would say if you look at like the like artwork that they use when like they're designing the games, like the quality's there. It just for whatever reason they just don't take the time to translate it into the game.
Hmm.
Um, Also, just kind of random side note, and we probably should wrap up kind of soonish, but um, Pokemon Champions they did announce at the World
Yeah, that's
finale
why I
that they
brought that
just
up.
had
Actually, yeah,
that Pokemon Champions actually will be, which is kind of what I theorized when this game was announced. That will be the kind of the platform going forward for the tournaments
yeah.
with the game releases, which is pretty cool because, like I said, it seems like it's a great vehicle to get people
It seems like
invested into
it's
the
made
battles.
specifically for that reason. Like
Yes,
you
and
look at the game, like like the mainline Pokemon series, and it doesn't feel like it's made for the competitive scene. It seems like the competitive scene just kind of forces their way into that, so to speak. I also do think this will be a good way of separating the two in a way where the mainline Pokemon series can maybe be, more fun, more enjoyable, for people that just want to chill and play Pokemon
Yeah, they
versus
theoretically
people that
can take more risks.
exactly. And I like that
Yeah.
about that general idea.
Which I think is something I bet they probably realized it when Legends Arceus came out with its kind of different battle style, because they're like, hey, they're like, people are really enjoying this game and kind of the aspects that are there, but the fighting style is not competitive and really doesn't lend itself to that. But now we have these Pokemon that you can't really use on that side of things because we can't use it for that. And what kind of vehicle can we make to help that happen? And I think that's probably partly where Champions had come from, because it makes it so that I think the great thing about it is they keep on doing all these stupid gimmicks. I'm going to say stupid gimmicks. Some of them are cool, some of them are dumb. Where it's like, oh, I love mega evolutions. I think those are great. But then you also have other things like the terrestrialization and the Z moves. Um, and they've not really been able to kind of coexist in the Pokemon universe. And this really gives them the vehicle to kind of explore those different things. Like, oh, is my mega evolved Mewtwo, is that going to be more powerful than your, Gigantamax Pikachu, just kind of random stuff. But yeah, it really kind of like gives you like a lot of creativity, kind of, flesh things out and see different things, and really use the stuff that you've been investing all this time and effort into, over the last, few decades, building up your Pokemon team. So I think that's a really cool thing, and I hope it's successful, because I think it's a really neat idea. So hopefully they take the time to make sure it's built well. But I think if it's going to be their main tournament platform, um, I think at least it should have a good gameplay foundation. So who knows about graphics? That's a whole nother beast with them. But at least I expect it to have a good solid gameplay foundation. So that's pretty exciting. Also, too, just randomly, just kind of side thought. I know you mentioned you saw some Pokemon ZA stuff. The multiplayer battle thing that they showed off looks kind of wild in that game too. Because it has you kind of moving around because they changed the battle system up quite a bit in this. I don't know if you saw it. It's kind of more like real time, where when you use a move, it kind of like you have like a recharge time before it's able
I
to be
did see
used
that.
again.
Yeah.
And you're bouncing around on the field. Your Pokemon kind of follows you around. Um, but they also have kind of these look like maybe 2v2 battles where like four different players are kind of on this like almost like arena setting, where you're kind of battling each other all at the same time with these kind of like active time Pokemon battles, which look like it could be pretty fun. Hard to say until you try it, but
Yeah.
look at least like it could be interesting. So and that's a very dramatic change from what we're talking about, and like we were just saying with Champions, at least that way, if you pick up Legend ZA, you're mega evolved Dragonite's not stuck in that game. Now you're not able to use it competitively. Now you'll be able to use it in Pokemon Champions. What they actually did show off, that new form is available in that game. So I also feel like too, like I said before, it really kind of solves the problem of the Pokemon, Dexit, where they lost all those Pokemon. Now you'll have access to all of your Pokemon in one core fighting game, and you can mix and match however you want. And granted, you'll still be able to take some Pokemon on the adventures with you, but the big thing is collecting and battling. You'll be able to do that in that game that's made for that, which is great. So yeah,
Yeah, I think
I
it's
guess,
good. I think it's good for the series overall. So
yeah. So yeah, a lot to be excited about.
yep.
So anything else to talk about before we wrap up?
No, I've got nothing else. Let's wrap it up. We've gone over by like an hour. Like holy shit.
I know. I'm surprised my voice is still holding up. So
I'm so sorry.
no, it's okay. But thank you everyone for listening to us tonight. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Our website, game-crunch.com, has all of our old episodes. And if you want to reach out to us, send us an email at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Brandon,
Hello.
any final thoughts?
No, I think I said all the thoughts I could say right now.
Okay. That said, my name is Mike Anastasia. Find me online. I'm Clash of Bang with there or on your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game on.
Game Crunch. Mike and Brandon step inside. Baby, where pixels come to life. Press start, adventures on your mind. Baby, game on tonight. Side quest, gotta catch that star, right? Level up, the challenge is high, baby. Jones in for the prize. Find a power up, feel the vibe, baby. Bright lights in our eyes. Boss fight, the epic showdown's tight. Game Crunch, where heroes never fall.
Hey, I need 1 second, quick.
Yeah, of
Sorry,
course.
someone's at my door.
Mhm.
Katie was gonna go make food, and I was like, how about we just cook some shrimp? That way it'll be done by the time the podcast is.
As long as it's not from Walmart.
No. What
I just
happened?
say that because I saw a news story earlier today that apparently Walmart's recalling some frozen shrimp for being radioactive, possibly.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah, if you want to glow in the dark.
Yeah, that's fucking sick.
Anyways,